Alright, what is up guys, and welcome back. Today it is time for the Fiesta's first official mod, besides the Cobb Accessport, because I don't really personally count that one, because I'm not running a tune on it at the moment. What we're going to be doing today is suspension. We are going to be dropping this car a good amount, and of course this is a budget build, so we're going to go ahead and discuss how to build a car on a budget and what suspension to go with on a budget. When it comes to suspension, you get about 3 options. And those options usually entail either you go with some lowering springs, which can run you about $100 to $300, or sometimes free if you cut your springs. The only downside to those is that you're still running the factory shocks or strut towers, which basically means that you are now constantly putting your factory struts under a constant load, but also it causes a lot more stress on the factory springs or shocks, which they will prematurely wear. So that's why we went with some coilovers. Now, coilovers are the second best option. They're actually pretty much the best option you can go with a car. When it comes to coilovers, most of them are going to run you about $1,000 or more, depending on which ones you go with. There's some coilovers that even run up into the $3,000 range, and those are usually for track purposes. They have external reservoirs, which keep the temperature of the fluid down, and the lower end of the spectrum is pretty much what you want for like street use. Now, when it comes to a budget build, there is no better brand to go with than Raceland. The whole reason I went with Raceland Coilovers is because they were $500 and they were pretty much about half the price of some BCBRs, which is what I wanted to go with. But BCBRs are overall they're $1,000. I think they're like $1,100 or $1,200 for this car, and they will ultimately kind of give you about the same feel, if not just a little bit better. However, what we are looking for today is just a simple coilover, just something to fix the struts on the car and something to give it just that little bit of a drop to make us a little bit, just to make this thing just a little more spicy, just to give it a little bit more feel to it. So that's what we're going with. Alright, so what you get with a brand new set of Racelands is you get a nice little Raceland decal. You can throw that on your window. I prefer to throw it on toolboxes. And then you get the coilovers themselves. Now, the way that the suspension is designed on the Fiesta is that it has a shock and the spring is separate. So they do give you these adjustments, and these will allow you to adjust the ride height in the rear, and you just put it underneath the spring, and it allows for you to get that feel. They also give you this box here, which comes with a keychain and a few other goodies. And then you get to the actual shocks, and the front suspension is just like a traditional coilover. Alright, so this is what you get. It's got dampening adjustment, camber adjustment on the top hat, and overall it just has the spring. You can adjust your preload here and tighten that all down, and then this is for ride height. You can adjust your ride height. We're going to go ahead and do all of the measurements outside of the car before we put it in, just to keep things simple and to avoid headaches in the future. So to start, we're going to go ahead and adjust the preload on these things. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to tighten up this top clamp. Now there is an actual spec to this, but I prefer just to tighten them down until pretty much until they're hand tight. So now the preload is set. This spring doesn't have any travel up or down. Alright, so now that we have the car resting on some jack stands, we're going to go ahead and pop the hood on this thing, get it up there, and then we're going to start with the front left side. Left. Okay, I'm going to grab our impact, take off our wheels. There we go. That took it right off. And that nut is so fucking bad. That thing is almost a circle. Rust is a hell of a thing. Okay, imagine the same process here. Same bolts. Okay, so that was a bitch and a half to get off right there. This brake fluid reservoir or fill cap. It is an absolute pain in the fucking dick to get that off, but all you need is just a 10mm wrench and some fucking hopes and dreams, because this one right here will come off pretty easily. This one back here needs a lot of convincing, and if you can see it back there, It's fucking bad. And then you can move it just about here. Just keep it out of the way. And then now you can access, what in the fuck is that? Anyways, so we can access this. Switch up, I already got it. You just need a 13mm wrench. And then you're just gonna go ahead and start turning. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and just kind of remove anything that is attached to this coilover. Okay, let's take a gander at these end links. Interesting. Well, they don't seem too fucked up. Let's just go ahead and... They don't seem too fucked up. I don't know. Let's just hope that those are still good. Alright. Now that we have both sides out, we can go ahead and take a look at the coilovers. This is the damage. So these guys are fucking done for. There ain't no way these things are ever going to come back into here. So basically, you know, there's no returning this car back to stock after pulling those shocks out, because those shits are fucking blown. Just like I explained, pretty much it's, you know, this or that side translates almost perfectly exactly. So all you need for these top hat bolts or top hat nuts are is a 13mm. I recommend a ratcheting wrench, top hat nuts, and then after that you need a 10mm to disconnect the brake line, and then you need, well, this has been the interesting predicament, the sway bar end links. I've had to use a Allen key and put it in there. It is a 3/16 Allen key. I had to put the Allen key in there and then turn them, you know, opposing each other to get the nut off. It's an interesting one, but I think it's probably in dire need of some new end links as well, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll probably just replace those and call it a day. But, you know, just to get the coilover installed done, we're going to just reuse the factory end links. Okay, so we have now finished up the fronts. We have gotten everything pretty much buttoned up. I could not get the nut on that backside, so I just cut my losses and called it a day. It's still pretty sturdy even with just the one nut on there. I'm not tripping about it. I really don't want to sit there and fight that nut for another hour. It took me about an hour just to get the slave cylinder off, just because of how tight of a space it is, and I just pretty much just tightened everything down to as tight as I can get it. You know, I know with suspension it is important to use torque specs, but in my personal experience, if you just fucking tighten everything up really fucking good, nothing comes loose. Alright, and now for the drop. Oh my god. I think we've actually done it. We've actually done it. We have gotten the jack stuck underneath the car. Free it. And then we're going to drop the second jack. Those low springs do not fucking like me. Oh my. Holy shit. Okay. You want to talk about a fucking drop. You want to talk about a fucking drop, bud. Oh, these aren't even maxed out. Oh my god. Oh my god. These aren't even maxed out. That is a fucking drop. Okay, yeah. I mean, the springs haven't even settled yet. Oh, the springs haven't settled. Okay. The springs haven't settled yet, so one side is going to be a little lower than the other just because we have compressed that side and this side. It's whatever. But the other thing is that these are going to continue to drop within the next couple days, and that's kind of fucking terrifying. Okay, well, I guess we just have to deal with it. Alright, so for the rears, all it is just one bolt down there, 2 bolts up there, and then you're going to want to pry the lower control arm down, get that spring out, and you're good. And then after that, it's just taking the new suspension, putting it in. Same thing on this side. Alright, so finally something that Ford engineers did good. Get in under here. Just gotta put a 15mm, oh that's a 19, what the fuck am I doing? What you gotta do is just hit this with an impact. Bolt comes right out. Ah, motherfucker. Okay, look here. Okay, no one asked you to be fucking difficult. So, come on. Fucking asshole. Yeah, that should do. Some of these. And then you got something that looks kind of like this. I'm guessing we're probably not going to need all these extensions. Yeah, no. That is way too much. Just hope it's a 10. Bingo. It's a fucking 10. Let's get this bitch on there. Get that bitch on there. We're just going to reach her up. Get her on there. Fuck. If I drop this 10mm, haha, aha, I caught it. Ah, look at that. That is fucking ancient. Okay. I want to see how these shocks are doing. I want to see, because I have a fucking great feeling that look at that. You know, when your shocks aren't blown, they are supposed to kind of, you know, come back up. This one ain't doing too hot, I can tell you that. These are looking fucking minty. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. You let go of that and it fucking goes, huh? Huh? Why couldn't you do that? Fucking pussy. We have come to contact you about your car's extended warranty. Hey! The extended warranty worked. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. You seeing this? What fucking color is that? That is every form of discolored. Holy shit. You have seen some shit, my boy. Alright, so this is the final specs of the rear end of this car. After quite a bit of adjustment and, you know, tinkering with it, I have managed to get both sides installed. I've managed to get both sides installed since the camera died, and now I have the shock height set to 8 inches, and then I have 8 inches on the shock and 0.7 on the spring adjustment, and that's what we're going to roll with for now, and then any adjustments I will make tomorrow. Alright boys, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see how fucking slammed I got her. I'm hoping it's not too low. This thing is supposed to be dailyable. But, yeah, no, judging by the fact that I took the jack out of the other side and the wheel was still off the ground, it's a little sketchy. So, let's go ahead and see it. And let's see it. Alright. So it's looking like we are sitting, holy fuck. Oh, my fender liner. That's pretty good on the back, honestly. I kind of like that. Let's see it on this side. How are we sitting on this side? Still got just enough gap in the back where it's still safe to drive. This side, Oh god. Okay, the fronts might need to be raised up just a touch. All right. This thing is looking so much better as time goes on. Never thought I would actually own one of these things, but here we are. So this is the first modification for this car. And yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. This little drop that we have here is fucking nice. I'm excited to take it for a test drive now. But I need to get cleaned up and, you know, get myself looking presentable. And I'm gonna go for a little drive. Maybe I'll get some POV footage, or maybe I might do that tomorrow, just so that way I can kind of just, like, you know, feel the car just to test for any kind of like problems that I can fix in the morning. And then I'm gonna do like a final review and drive tomorrow morning, just to kind of finish off this video. All right, it is time for day 2. We are going to be getting the fronts dialed in. We got the rears pretty much exactly where I want them. So the rears are sitting pretty much like perfectly where I want them. Don't mind the fender liner falling down, but the rears are pretty much perfect. And I took a lot of time getting the rears set perfectly, so I don't have to worry about it in the future. So the rears are pretty much all good. It's just the fronts need to be raised up just a little bit more, just to kind of accommodate for, you know, some more space in the front, just because the front is sitting quite a bit too low. You see that? So of course the alignment's a little off, so it does look a little different between the two sides, but they are sitting at the same right height. So we're just going to go ahead and make some adjustments on the front, and then we're going to take it for a drive. Okay, so this is how I got it sitting to finalize. It's just got a little bit of a gap between the tire and the fender, and it's pretty much kind of lined up at the back as well. So the back pretty much sits about the same as the front. May raise it up just a little bit more in the future, but I think this is how I'm going to let it sit for today. And yeah, now it's time to take it for a drive. Alright, so we have run into some unforeseen problems with the Fiesta. As soon as I get it back on the ground and I start the car and get ready for a test drive, it decides it's not going to move anymore. And I basically put it in reverse. It moved for like a little bit, made it just to the end of the garage, just right over there, made it all the way to like the lip of the garage, and it quit moving. Okay, so somewhere during the coilover install, I had managed to dislodge the axle from the boot. So it is no longer connected, it is just one floppy shaft